Hello, today I'm recording a video showing you how to use the trace method to cut out your honeys. So the first thing I did was open up the file and save it as a PNG file to make it easier to edit in Silhouette Studio. Once the file has converted, I will open it up in Silhouette Studio. And it gets imported as a landscape file. So I will have to make modifications to change my cutting mat to be landscape as well. The next thing that I'm going to do is add the registration marks for the Cameo machine. And now you can see that I'm making some adjustments for the registration marks. I find that the 0.625 setting works the best. So to make sure, I always increase it and decrease it back to make sure that the cutting line and registration marks are inside of the print line. Now I'm minimizing the honeys to make sure that everything all fits within the cut lines, and then I just have to move it so that that works. And now I'm going to trace it. So the first thing I'm going to do is select my trace area and highlight all of the honeys. Now you can see that they're going to turn yellow. But they're kind of a sketchy yellow, so we're going to turn up the threshold here to make sure that, first of all, some of the toes are outside of the line, so I just needed to decrease it a little bit more. Now we're going to go back and retrace the honeys to make sure that everything's good. I'm just going to make it smaller a bit so that it doesn't try and trace out the Reset Girl logo. Make sure all the toes are inside. And now I'm going to increase the threshold. I always increase it to 99% because if you increase it to 100, it fills the whole thing as yellow. Now I'm going to go and select Trace the Outer Edge. What happens when the outer edge is traced is it'll take a few minutes and then you'll see it transform to have yellow lines all around each of the items. Now some of these lines are going to need some editing. And you can see that certain little dots are all outlined and we really don't want that effect. So what we're going to do is release the compound path so that we have all these gray boxes that show up, and that'll allow us to edit each of the segments that we want to. So the next thing that I'm going to do is press Escape and zoom in so that I can highlight all of the red dots. And press Delete. Now I am clicking on the red lines around the crosses and I'm taking that out and just putting my own ellipse around it. Same with the hexagons. Makes it way easier to cut out in one piece. If you click on something and you see all of the honeys disappear, just press Escape and they will come back. So now I'm just speeding through the rest of this video as I get rid of all of the red dots and create some polygons or circles or whatever around the items that I would prefer to cut out as one piece. And so I just continue. The reason that I make sure that all of these little red dots are gone is because your silhouette will actually cut all of those. And so by getting rid of them all, it is a little bit tedious, but it makes it much easier for your silhouette to do the work that it needs to do. So again, you can see I'm just deleting all of the cut lines around each individual circle and turning it into one individual cut line so that it'll cut all those little dots out as one piece instead of all separately. This one I decided to do a triangle around for something different. And as you can see, I'm getting closer to being done the rest of the file. So I'm just going around and checking to see if I can see any more little red dots. And now I have zoomed out to see if there's anything else. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to my printer so that I can cut it out. After that, I'm going to send it to the silhouette once it's loaded and verify all of my cut lines. And you can see in a couple of places that I have some extra cut lines that I don't want. So what I'm going to do in those two instances is go back to the design mode and just highlight those. Another way that you can do it is by editing points and then just deleting each of those gray points individually by clicking on them and then clicking on delete point. That takes a little bit longer to do, but you can do it. And again, I'm doing that down here where I click on the line and then say delete point. But I find it much easier just to zoom in because it makes the cut lines easier to click on and get rid of them. So that's what I'm going to do here for the final few. I'm just going to click on them, select delete, get rid of them, and then I will put my polygon around the shape that I would like it to be. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He kind of wants to jump up on my lap here as I'm doing the video. So here I go, adding my last little polygon shape around the dots so that they'll cut out all as one. And now I'm going to send it off to my silhouette after I make sure that all the lines are how I want them to be. And then you could also select your correct paper to make sure that it'll cut out properly, and off I send it. With the magic of video, here you can see all of the honeys on the paper cut out. And here you can see the detail and even see that her earrings are cut out.